Let's start off our day with something wonderful, or hear a story about someone being marvelous. Let's make today wonderless. This is the show that gives you a daily dose of happy, uplifting, feel-good stories from around the world. This is Wonderless News. I'm Hoyt Christopher. Let's get right to it. All right, so our first segment is a fifth person has been confirmed cured of HIV. That's right. Just so everyone knows, HIV was not curable, it was treatable. This has been going on for decades, but sure enough, a fifth person has been cured with this program. So after a groundbreaking treatment, researchers have announced that a 50-year-old man in Germany has officially been cured of HIV. Wow. He has no detectable virus in the body, even after stopping his HIV medication 4 years ago. So he stopped his medication 4 years ago. He is completely cured of HIV. This is just incredible. If you are being currently treated for HIV, I don't know how soon this is going to make it here as something that would be available to you, but how great would it be for you to not have to take the medication and live with that disease inside of you and keep it at bay with all these different treatments? To have it be cured is incredible. So this is, they said, this is really, it's often too risky to offer as a cure for everyone with HIV. So it's not for everybody, unfortunately. It's also difficult to achieve because as the HIV resistant gene mutation is only carried in 1% of the total population. So that means 1% of the total population, and out of that 1% would have this gene and have HIV. You could take this, go through this process and be cured. But look, this is a big step forward. And as they mentioned, they're improving this research more and more. So maybe it would expand out of that resistant gene to HIV. That's only 1%. And, look, it'd be more available to more people out there. Finding a cure for something like HIV is huge. Now, guys, you're up next against cancer. Find the cure for cancer and we're good. All right, next segment. Recycled glass turned into sand is restoring Louisiana's shrinking coastline. This is a great story. So these two Tulane University seniors, Franziska and Max, we'll just stick with their first names. They were hanging out, drinking wine in their dorm room, like every college student does. And they started wondering, what can we do with this glass? Where does it end up? And is there something better we can do with it, right? Because you do the recycling, that's fine, and we get it, but maybe there's something more that we could do with this. So they actually went out, collected a bunch of glass, and they started smashing it up using, it looks like I think they did it, they got a machine and they just pulverized it. And they pulverized it until it turned back into sand. And then they were able to recycle that, right? So here's what they said. They said, so now in 2020, so not now in 20, but in 2020, they recycled about 100,000 pounds of glass every month. And the name of their company, because they started a company when they graduated from Tulane, is Glass Half Full NOLA. I love that. That's actually cool. Glass Half Full NOLA. It's a low profit limited liability company, which is interesting. And their main purpose is to achieve a social benefit, right? So far they've diverted 3.2 million pounds of glass from landfills with just 8 employees. And they take this, they use the machine, they pulverize that glass into sand, and they recycle it back out. They actually will pay restaurants to pick up the glass and do this for them, which is pretty crazy. And with a lot of hurricanes that plague Louisiana and that Gulf Coast, what they've also been doing is they take the sand that they get from pulverizing the glass and they put it into bags, and they can use that and give those to people for sandbags to protect themselves from floods and during the hurricane. So it's awesome. Love that story. All right, well, it is time for our Wonderless moment of the day, brought to you by Rise by Shaman Angelina. Etsy site, as I mentioned, her site to her store of handmade coastal jewelry is in the description of the show. So check that out. Go there, buy some of her cool stuff. She's got really cool pendants with like sea glass, right? Not pulverized into sand. And great items for you and your friends, loved ones, men, women, doesn't really matter. I like the stuff. It's really cool. So our next, sorry. Her moment of the day is brought to you by Shaman, Rise by Shaman Angelina is paragliding. I love this one. I picked this one. Paragliding is cool. I think I could do paragliding. On one of the shows before I said I'm not about jumping out of a plane and parachuting, but paragliding seems pretty cool. I like that. So check out the paragliding with a little music. Maybe it helps you reset for the day. Okay, now I want to paraglide. That looks like fun. That does look like fun. All right, thank you, Rise by Shaman Angelina. Again, check out her site. It's in the description. The link to her site, her page on Etsy is in the description of the show. Next segment: How America's first heat officers. That's actually a new title now. Are cooling Miami and Los Angeles. So if you live in Miami or Los Angeles, or you've been to either of these places in the summer, you know that heat waves are common and it gets brutal. So now it looks like the cities have decided that they need actually someone that's an expert in managing heat, what to do to keep people cool, what sort of programs can be offered for people that need to get out of the heat, even in their own, like some places, some houses, apartments in California, Los Angeles, and Miami don't have air conditioning, right? And so those extreme heat waves that happen in the summer to both places can really affect a lot of people in these communities. And of course, there's a lot of deaths because of it. So now we have heat officers. I love that. I wonder if they wear a uniform. And what does their uniform look like? Is it a police uniform? Or is it a tank top and shorts? Maybe it's one of those hats with the fan and the mister that sprays you in the face. I don't know. But hey, it's part of sort of moving with the climate. We've got these, we've got this whole climate change happening, and we've got extreme heats and extreme colds. LA and Miami are dealing with extreme heat. So look for your local community heat officer today. All right. As we would say, so the Wonderlous thought is just a moment for me to talk about what we just, let's talk about heat waves in LA. So, and let's have fun with it, because if you do live in LA and you hit those, let's see, it's usually like September, right? August, September, maybe it's like August, September. Really, I think July will be hot too, but August, September can get pretty hot in LA. Our house that we had in Studio City, I mean, we had AC in both the back unit and the main house, and it didn't matter. Bro, it got so hot. It would still get hot inside. Our houses in California and LA, because it's not the Midwest where it's really, really cold, they're just not insulated very well. They just aren't. I think this, the qualifications or the standard is lower than it would be obviously in those other places, in the Midwest, what I mentioned. So think about, it's not going to keep the heat in as well as it should, or the cool. And so that just escapes. And then you just running up your bill to keep your house cold or cold enough or cool enough in the summer. So those heat waves are brutal, man. Brutal. And I love that there's a heat officer now, but what can we do, right? So I think it's just something we have to start adjusting ourselves to. I think climate change is here. It's here to stay, at least in my lifetime. At some point, it'll get easier. At some point, technology and what we're developing will help us get through it a lot better. So let's keep looking out for those hats with fans and misters, trying to, insulate your house a little bit better if you get that opportunity. If you can re-insulate, maybe go top line, the highest number for insulation. So when that summer hits, you're actually more protected inside. And if you don't have an air conditioner and you live in Los Angeles, man, and you can't afford one, then they've got a lot of these programs that are available on the news and online where you can go to cooling stations, which are essentially, it could be movie theaters and, shopping malls and places where people can come and, cool off during the day until nighttime when it hopefully cools off enough to rest. But anyways, listen, if you got a story for me, please send it. Their email right there. The email address is on the screen. Send it to me. I'll read it here on the show. I look forward to learning more about your positive, uplifting, feel-good stories. So send them to me and we'll talk about them here. In the meantime, thanks again for watching and listening. I'm Hoyt Christopher. This is Wonderlous News. See you tomorrow.